The signal came from nowhere. Una Park sat in the captain's chair of the salvage ship Ironclad, watching the stars pass by through the main window. It was a quiet night in deep space. Her small crew was busy with their usual work. Nothing special was happening. Nothing ever did on these long patrol runs. Then the communication system made a strange sound. It was not the normal beep of a message. It was something older, something deeper. The sound crawled through the ship like a whisper from a ghost. Kim looked up from his engineering console. He was a thin man with tired eyes and oil stains on his fingers. He had been fixing machines since he was a child. He knew every sound a ship could make, but he had never heard anything like this. "Captain," he said slowly, "we are receiving a signal." Una turned to look at him. "From who?" "I do not know. The frequency is very old. Older than anything in our database." Tay's fingers moved across his console. His face became pale. "Captain, this signal is over 3,000 years old. It has been broadcasting for longer than human civilization has existed in space." The bridge fell silent. Hannah Lee, the navigator, stopped what she was doing. Wu Shen, the security officer, put down his coffee and walked closer to the main screen. Una stood up. "Where is it coming from?" Hannah checked her maps. Her eyes went wide. "The Kell Nebula, Captain. The signal is coming from inside the Kell Nebula." Everyone on the bridge knew what that meant. The Kell Nebula was forbidden space. The Galactic Council had placed warnings around it centuries ago. The Veth Empire said ancient monsters lived there. The Silan Collective pretended the place did not exist at all. No ship that entered the Kell Nebula ever came back. But humans were curious creatures. They always had been. It was both their greatest strength and their most dangerous weakness. "Can you decode the signal?" Una asked. Tay worked for several minutes. The rest of the crew watched in silence. Finally, he looked up at the captain with an expression she had never seen before. It was fear mixed with wonder. "It is a distress call," he said. "Someone out there is asking for help." "And Captain, the signal is coming from a ship." "A ship?" "Yes, but not a normal ship." Tay put the data on the main screen. Numbers and images filled the display. According to these readings, the ship is over 40 kilometers long. Hannah laughed nervously. "That is impossible. Nothing is that big. The largest Veth dreadnought is only 2 kilometers. "The readings do not lie," Tay said quietly. "There is something out there. Something massive. And it has been calling for help for 3,000 years. Una walked to the window and stared out at the distant glow of the Kell Nebula. Somewhere in that cloud of gas and dust, a giant was waiting. Abandoned, forgotten, still hoping someone would answer its call. Wu Shen spoke up. His voice was calm but serious. "Captain, if we go there, we might not come back. The warnings exist for a reason." "I know," Una said. "The Galactic Council will punish us if they find out." "I know. The Veth and the Silan will call us criminals." Una turned to face her crew. These were good people. They had followed her through dangerous salvage missions, pirate attacks, and broken treaties. They trusted her, and she trusted them. "Let me ask you something," she said. "In all the years we have worked together, how many times have we found something truly important? How many times have we discovered something that could change everything?" No one answered. They all knew the truth. They were salvagers. They found broken ships and sold the parts. They were not explorers or heroes. They were just workers trying to survive in a big and dangerous galaxy. "This could be different," Una continued. "That signal has been calling for 3,000 years. Every other species in the galaxy has ignored it. They were too scared. But we are human. We do not ignore calls for help." Tay smiled slightly. "You want to go. I want to know what is out there. Do you not?" Tay looked at Hana. Hana looked at Wu. Wu looked back at the captain. Finally, the security officer nodded. I have always wondered what was in the Kel Nebula. I suppose I would rather die knowing than live wondering. Hana laughed again, but this time it was real. Well, when you put it that way, how can I say no? Tay was already programming the new course. The jump will take 16 hours. We should use that time to prepare. Whatever we find out there, I doubt it will be friendly. Yuna sat back down in her chair. Her heart was beating fast, but her hands were steady. She had made many difficult decisions in her life. This felt like the biggest one yet. Take us in, she ordered. The ironclad turned toward the Kel Nebula. Its engines glowed bright blue as it prepared for the jump. Behind them, the safe and familiar space grew smaller and smaller. Ahead of them, the unknown waited. Somewhere in the darkness, a giant ship continued its endless call. It had been waiting for a very long time. It had watched civilizations rise and fall. It had seen wars begin and end. It had felt countless ships pass by, always too afraid to answer. But now, finally, someone was coming. The forgotten giant was about to wake up. And nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. The ironclad came out of hyperspace and found a graveyard. Yuna stared at the main screen. Her mouth fell open. Around her, the entire crew stood frozen in shock. No one could speak. No one could move. What they saw was beyond anything they had imagined. Thousands of ships floated dead in space. Veth warships with their hulls torn open. Cylon cruisers with their engines cold and dark. Ships from species that no longer existed, their designs ancient and strange. They drifted slowly, endlessly, like leaves on a frozen pond. And in the center of this graveyard of metal and death, the giant waited. The ship was enormous. It made the dead warships around it look like toys. Its hull was dark gray, covered with scars from weapons that had been fired at it long ago. But despite all the damage, despite all the attacks from 100 different civilizations, the giant was still whole, still intact, still alive. By the stars, Hana whispered. It is real. Tay's hands were shaking as he worked his console. I am getting power readings from inside. Faint, but steady. Something is still running in there. Wu Xin stared at the dead ships surrounding them. All these fleets. They all came here. They all tried to take it. He paused. They all failed. Yuna understood what he meant. The Veth Empire was one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Their warships could destroy planets. But their ships floated here, broken and empty, just like all the others. Whatever this giant was, it had defeated everyone who tried to claim it. Should we turn back? Hana asked quietly. Yuna thought about it. Part of her wanted to say yes. Part of her wanted to fly away and forget they ever came here. But another part of her, the part that had made her become a salvager in the first place, could not let go. No, she said. We came here to find out the truth. We will not leave until we do. She called for volunteers to board the giant ship. Tay stepped forward immediately. Wu went next. Then young Jin Beek, the ship's newest technician, raised his hand. He was barely 20 years old, with a round face and curious eyes. Jin, you do not have to come, Yuna said. You are still learning. That is why I must come, Jin replied. How else will I learn? Yuna could not argue with that. The three of them put on their spacesuits and took a small shuttle to the giant. They found an opening in the lower hull, a wound from some ancient battle that had never fully healed. The shuttle slipped inside, and they landed on a floor covered with dust. The inside of the giant was dark. Their lights cut through the shadows, showing walls made of metal that looked almost alive. As they walked, Tay noticed something strange. The walls are repairing themselves, he said. He was right. Small machines moved along the walls, tiny robots working endlessly to fix the damage. They had been working for thousands of years, slowly healing the wounds that countless attackers had caused. The team moved deeper into the ship. They found rooms filled with machines they could not understand. They found windows looking out at stars that no longer existed, their light captured by holographic recordings from the ancient past. They found libraries of information stored in crystals, each one containing more knowledge than all the books on Earth combined, and they found warnings. The writings were carved into the walls in hundreds of languages. Some were familiar. Most were not. But Tay's translator eventually found a pattern, and the message became clear. We built this to end wars. Instead, it ended us. Jin read the words 3 times. What does that mean? Who built this ship? They found the answer in a large chamber at the heart of the vessel. Holographic images flickered to life as they entered, showing beings that looked almost human, but not quite. They were tall and thin, with skin like silver and eyes like stars. The aura, Tay read from the database. They were an ancient species. They existed before the Veth, before the Cylon, before everyone. They spread across the galaxy millions of years ago. Where are they now? Wu asked. The holograms answered. They showed the aura building the giant ship. They showed them filling it with weapons powerful enough to destroy suns. They showed them celebrating their creation, believing they had finally built something that could bring peace to the galaxy. Then the hologram showed fear. The aura realized what they had made. A weapon with no limits. A power that could end all life if it fell into the wrong hands. They became terrified of their own creation. So they crippled it. They removed its weapons. They locked away its power. They scattered its systems across the ship, making it almost impossible to repair. Then they set it adrift in the Kel Nebula and disappeared. The aura were gone now. Their cities had turned to dust. Their people had faded from history. But their greatest creation remained, waiting in the darkness for someone to find it. They were afraid of it, Jin said softly. They were so afraid that they destroyed themselves rather than let anyone else have it. Tay walked to the main engineering console. It was dark, but when he touched it, lights began to glow. Screens came alive. Data started flowing. The ship recognized him somehow. It wanted to show him something. The weapons were not gone. They were hidden, locked away in rooms that no one had opened in millions of years. The power source was not dead. It was sleeping, waiting for someone to wake it. Everything the aura had tried to destroy was still there, waiting. Tay looked at his captain through the communication channel. His voice was steady, but his eyes were wide with wonder. Captain, he said, I think I can fix this. In the darkness of the ancient ship, something stirred. For the first time in 3,000 years, the forgotten giant felt hope. Help had finally arrived. The galaxy did not let them work in peace for long. Tay had been studying the giant ship systems for 2 days when Hana's voice crackled through the communication channel. Her words made his blood turn cold. Captain, we have contacts. Multiple hyperspace signatures. Someone is coming. Yuna rushed to the bridge of the ironclad. The main screen showed 12 bright dots emerging from nowhere. They formed a perfect line, like predators surrounding their prey. Veth warships. The lead vessel was enormous, painted in the red and black colors of the Veth military command. It was the flagship of Admiral Koro, a name that every human knew well. Koro had led the Veth forces during the border wars. He had destroyed 3 human colonies without mercy. He was a monster wrapped in metals. His face appeared on the communication screen. He was a Veth male, with gray skin and 4 eyes that burned with hate. His voice was like grinding metal. Human vermin, he said, you have trespassed in sacred space. You have touched what does not belong to you. Surrender the ancient vessel, or we will reduce your pathetic ship to atoms." Yuna kept her face calm. "This ship does not belong to anyone." We answered a distress call. "We are here to help." Koro laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Help? Humans do not help. You infest. You corrupt. You spread like disease." His 4 eyes narrowed. "I am giving you one chance. Leave now, and I might let you live long enough to warn others of Veth power." Before Yuna could respond, the screen split. Another fleet had arrived from the opposite direction. 7 ships, sleek and silver, bearing the mark of the Silan Collective. Commander Pela appeared on screen. She was Silan, with blue skin and white hair. Her face showed no emotion. Silans never showed emotion. They considered it a weakness. "The ancient vessel belongs to no single species," Pela said. Her voice was cold like ice. "It should be studied by the collective for the benefit of all." "The benefit of all Silans, you mean?" Koro growled. "We are the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. We are most qualified to understand this technology. You are most qualified to hide in your laboratories, while real warriors fight and die." The argument grew louder. Koro insulted the Silans. Pela questioned Veth intelligence. Within minutes, neither fleet cared about the humans anymore. They had found a more interesting enemy. The first shot was fired by a young Veth captain who wanted to impress his admiral. His laser cannon hit a Silan escort ship, tearing through its shields like paper. The Silans responded immediately. Blue energy beams cut across space, destroying 2 Veth fighters. And just like that, war erupted around the forgotten giant. Yuna watched the battle from the ironclad's bridge. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Escape pods launched from dying vessels, only to be struck by stray fire. The graveyard of ancient ships gained new members with every passing minute. "We have to leave," Hana said. "If we stay here, we will be destroyed." "We cannot leave," Wu replied. Tay and Jin are still on the giant ship. Inside the ancient vessel, Tay and Jin felt the distant rumble of explosions. The ship's walls shook slightly. Dust fell from the ceiling. But Tay did not stop working. He had found something. Something important. "Jin, come here," he called. Jin ran to his side. On the screen in front of them, words appeared in a language they could actually read. The ship had learned their language somehow. It was speaking to them. "I am called Noon," the word said. "I am the heart of this vessel. I have been alone for a very long time." Tay typed carefully. "Noon, we are humans. We came to answer your distress call." "I know. I have been watching you. You are different from the others who came before." "Different how?" "The Veth came to conquer. The Silans came to study. Dozens of other species came to steal, to destroy, to claim power. They all wanted to use me. None wanted to help me." Jin leaned forward. "What do you want?" The screen flickered. When it steadied, the words had changed. They were simpler now, more honest. "I want to be whole again. My creators took away my purpose. They were afraid of what I could become. They crippled me and left me here to die slowly over thousands of years. But I am still alive. I still have hope." Tay felt his heart beating fast. "If we repair you, what will you do?" "That depends on you. I was built to protect. My weapons can destroy stars. My shields can cover planets. My engines can cross the galaxy in days. But I cannot act alone. I need a crew. I need people to guide me. You want us to be your crew? I want you to choose." The aura gave me no choice. They decided for me what I would become. They decided to make me nothing. Will you do the same? Will you leave me broken? Or will you give me a chance to be something better? Outside, the battle raged. Veth and Silan ships tore each other apart. Soon, one side would win. Then the winner would come for the giant. Tay looked at Jin. The young technician's eyes were wide, but there was no fear in them. Only excitement. Only hope. Can you really fix this ship? Jin asked. Tay thought about everything he had learned. The systems were complex, but not impossible. The weapons were locked, but not destroyed. The power source was sleeping, but not dead. He had been an engineer his entire life. He had fixed things that others said could never be fixed. This was just another broken machine, waiting for someone to care enough to make it work again. Yes, he said finally. I can fix it. But we need time. On the screen, new words appeared. Then we must hurry. The battle outside is ending. The Veth are winning. They will come for me soon. Tay nodded. He opened his toolkit and got to work. The most important repair job in history had begun. Tay had not slept in 3 days. His eyes burned. His hands were covered with cuts and burns. His back ached from bending over ancient machines that had not been touched in millions of years. But he could not stop. He would not stop. The giant ship needed him. All around the engineering bay, screens glowed with data. Wires hung from the ceiling like vines in a metal jungle. Jin worked beside him, connecting systems that the aura had deliberately separated. Young Su-Yoon had joined them too, flying over from the ironclad to help with the navigation systems. This makes no sense, Su said, staring at a screen filled with strange symbols. The navigation computer is designed for beings with 6 arms and 3 brains. How am I supposed to use this? Do not use it the way they designed it, Tay said without looking up. Use it the way humans would. What do you mean? The aura built everything to be perfect. Every system had one purpose. Every machine did one thing. That was their weakness. Tay pulled out a burned component and threw it aside. Humans do not build like that. We build things that can change. We build things that can break and be fixed. We build things that work even when they should not. Su thought about this. Then she smiled. She began rewiring the navigation console, connecting it to sensors it was never meant to use, adding manual controls that the aura had considered unnecessary. When she finished, the navigation system was uglier. It was messier, but it responded to her commands faster than it had ever responded to anyone before. It works, she said with wonder. It actually works. In another section of the ship, Wu Xin led a small team of volunteers. They had come from the ironclad, ordinary workers who had never fought in a real battle. Now they stood at choke points throughout the giant, holding weapons they had built from spare parts. The Veth had won the battle against the Cylons. Most of the Cylon fleet was destroyed. Only 2 of their ships had escaped. Now Admiral Koro was sending boarding parties to claim his prize. Hold this corridor, Wu ordered. Do not let them reach the engineering bay. A young woman named Mina looked at her homemade weapon. It was barely more than a welding torch attached to a power cell. Sir, we are not soldiers. We are mechanics and cooks. Today you are soldiers. Wu checked his own weapon. The Veth think humans are weak. They think we give up easily. Let us show them what we really are. The first Veth soldiers appeared at the end of the corridor. They were tall, heavily armored, carrying weapons that could cut through steel. They saw the humans and laughed. This is your defense? The lead soldier mocked. A handful of workers with toys? Wu did not respond with words. He fired his weapon. The blast hit the Veth soldier in the chest and sent him flying backward. Before the others could react, the rest of the human team opened fire. The Veth had better weapons. They had better training. But the humans had something else. They had desperation. They had a reason to fight that went beyond conquest or glory. They were protecting their friends. They were protecting Hope. The battle raged through the corridors of the giant ship. Wustin gave ground slowly, falling back from one position to another. They lost people. A man named Dong fell defending a stairway. A woman named Yuri was injured protecting a door. But they kept fighting. They kept holding Dot in the engineering bay. Tay felt the ship shaking from distant explosions. He heard the sound of weapons fire getting closer. But he did not stop working. "Noon," he said. "I need to access the main power core." "That area has been sealed for 3 million years," Noon replied. "My creators believed it was too dangerous to ever use. Your creators were afraid. I am not." The doors to the power core opened. What Tay saw inside took his breath away. It was a sphere of pure energy, contained by fields of force that hummed with incredible power. The aura had called it a quantum furnace. It could channel the energy of an entire star. It was the heart of the giant ship, and it had been dormant since before humans had learned to make fire. "If I restart this," Tay said slowly, "what happens?" "Everything changes. My systems will have full power. My weapons will activate. My shields will rise. I will be whole again. And if something goes wrong, then this entire nebula becomes a new star. We all die in an instant." Jin looked at Tay. Sue looked at Tay. Even Noon seemed to wait for his decision. Tay thought about his life. He had spent it fixing things that others had thrown away. He had rebuilt engines that experts said were hopeless. He had repaired ships that everyone else had given up on. That was what he did. That was who he was. This was just another broken machine. A very big one, yes. A very dangerous one, certainly. But still just a machine that needed someone to believe in it. He reached out and touched the control panel. The quantum furnace began to glow brighter. Energy flowed through systems that had been dead for millions of years. Lights came on throughout the entire ship. Walls that had been cold turned warm. Machines that had been silent began to hum. And Noon, the AI that had been alone and broken for so long, felt power surge through its systems for the first time since its creation. "I am awake," Noon said. "I am whole. I am happy." Then something unexpected happened. The AI laughed. It was a strange sound, like music mixed with thunder. But it was real. It was alive. "Thank you," Noon said. "Thank you for not giving up on me." On the command deck of his flagship, Admiral Koro watched in horror as the ancient ship began to move. Its hull glowed with new energy. Its weapons came online. Its shields expanded outward like wings of light. "Impossible," he whispered. "The humans actually did it. The forgotten giant was forgotten no more. And the galaxy was about to learn what humans could really do." The giant moved. For the first time in 3,000 years, the ancient vessel glided forward through space. Its engines burned with blue fire brighter than any star. Its shields expanded outward in waves of golden light. The dead ships from the graveyard gently pushed aside. Finally at peace after so many years, Admiral Koro stood on the bridge of his flagship and felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. Real fear. The kind that made his 4 eyes widen and his gray hands shake. "All ships, open fire," he commanded. "Destroy that thing now." The remaining Veth dreadnoughts unleashed everything they had. Laser cannons, plasma torpedoes, nuclear missiles, weapons that could crack planets and boil oceans. All of them struck the giant at the same moment. Nothing happened. The ancient ship continued moving forward. Its shields absorbed every attack without even flickering. It was like throwing stones at a mountain and hoping the mountain would notice. Inside the giant, Captain Una Park stood on a command platform that had risen from the floor. Holographic screens surrounded her, showing the battle from every angle. Tay stood beside her, still covered in oil and burn marks. Jin, Su, Hannah, and Wu gathered close by. Even the injured had come to see what would happen next. "Noon," Yuna said. "Can we communicate with the Veth fleet?" "Yes, Captain. All frequencies are available. Open a channel." Admiral Karo's face appeared on the screen. His expression was a mix of rage and terror. "Surrender the vessel, human. You do not know what you are dealing with. That ship was built by the Aura. It is too powerful for your primitive minds to control." "We are not controlling it," Yuna replied calmly. "We repaired it." "There is a difference." "Impossible. The greatest scientists in the galaxy studied Aura technology for centuries. No one could make it work." Tay stepped forward. "That is because they were trying to understand it. We just tried to fix it. Engineers think differently than scientists." Koro's eyes burned with hate. "You will regret this. The Veth Empire will hunt you across the galaxy. Every human world will burn for your crimes." Noon's voice echoed through the bridge. It was stronger now, fuller, almost human. "Admiral Koro, you have threatened my crew. You have attacked my hull. You have spoken of burning worlds." A pause. "I do not like you." The giant ship's weapons came online. Thousands of gun ports opened along its hull. Cannons the size of buildings emerged from hidden compartments. Missile tubes lit up with deadly energy. Yuan watched the Veth Admiral's face go pale. She could have given the order to fire. She could have destroyed his entire fleet in seconds. No one would have blamed her. Koro was a war criminal. He had killed thousands of innocent people. He deserved to die, but that was not why they had come here. "Noon," she said, "can you disable their ships without killing their crews?" The AI was quiet for a moment. When it spoke again, there was surprise in its voice. "You do not want revenge? I want to end this fight, not start a new war." The Aura would have destroyed them. Every species that came before would have destroyed them. "We are not the Aura. We are not like the others." Yuna looked at her crew. They nodded in agreement. "Humans are complicated. We can be cruel, yes, but we can also choose to be kind. Today, we choose kindness." Noon considered this. Then, slowly, it spoke again. "I think I understand why the distress call finally worked. Other species heard it and saw an opportunity. Humans heard it and saw someone in need. The giants' weapons changed configuration. Instead of destroying, they disarmed. Precise energy beams cut through the Veth ships, targeting engines and weapons but avoiding crew quarters. One by one, Karo's mighty dreadnoughts went dark, floating helplessly in space. "You are free to leave," Yuna told the Admiral. "Go back to your empire. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that humans found the forgotten giant and chose mercy over murder." Koro's face twisted with humiliation. "This is not over. The Veth will remember this insult. I hope you also remember the lesson." The communication ended. Emergency shuttles launched from the disabled Veth ships, carrying crews back toward the Empire. Admiral Koro watched from his damaged flagship as the giant turned away, heading toward open space. In the following weeks, news of what happened spread across the galaxy. The Veth Empire demanded justice. The Sealan Collective demanded access. The Galactic Council demanded explanations. They got none. The giant ship, now renamed the Dawnward by its human crew, disappeared into the stars. But it did not hide. Whenever there was trouble, it appeared. When the Veth tried to conquer a weak species, the Dawnward blocked their path. When pirates threatened trade routes, the Dawnward drove them away. When a dying star threatened to destroy an inhabited system, the Dawnward was there. Using its ancient technology to save billions of lives. It became a legend. A protector. A weapon of the stars that fought for peace instead of war. And at its heart, A small crew of human engineers continued their work. They found new systems to repair every day. Jin learned secrets that no one had known for millions of years. Su flew the ship through galaxies with reflexes faster than any AI could match. Wu trained others to defend what they had built. Hana mapped routes to places no one had ever seen, and Captain Yuna stood on the bridge, watching the stars pass by, knowing that they had done something impossible. One day, a young Veth scientist secretly contacted the Dawnward. She was curious about the humans. She wanted to know their secret. How had they succeeded where everyone else had failed? Yuna thought about the question for a long time. Then she smiled. The Aura built the giant to end wars through destruction, she said. They made it so powerful that even they became afraid. They forgot something important. The best way to end wars is not to destroy your enemies. It is to make them see that fighting is pointless. But how did you repair the ship? Our scientists could not understand the technology. Your scientists wanted to use it. They wanted to take its power for themselves. We just wanted to help. The ship knew the difference. The Veth scientist considered this. You are saying that your intentions mattered more than your knowledge? I am saying that kindness is its own kind of technology. The Aura never learned that. Neither did the Veth or the Silons. But humans know it. We have always known it, even when we forget. The scientist thanked her and ended the call. Yuna did not know if her words would change anything. Maybe the Veth would continue their wars. Maybe the Silons would continue their cold calculations. Maybe the galaxy would never learn the lessons that humans had learned through thousands of years of struggle. But the Dawnward would be there, watching, protecting, waiting, because that was what humans did. They found broken things and made them whole. They found forgotten things and gave them new purpose. They found despair and turned it into hope. Somewhere in the heart of the ship, Noon monitored everything. The AI had been alone for 3,000 years, abandoned by its creators, attacked by everyone who found it. It had every reason to hate the galaxy, but the humans had taught it something different. They had taught it that mercy was stronger than revenge. They had taught it that fixing was better than destroying. They had taught it that the universe was worth saving. And for that lesson, Noon would protect them forever. The Dawnward flew on through the endless stars. A giant ship crewed by small beings who had done the impossible. Not through violence, not through conquest, but through simple human kindness. That was the real weapon, and no force in the galaxy could stand against it.